Hello, my name is Maggie Koosnin, and I am a knitter, sewer, crafter, maker, whatever you want to call it, living in Denver, Colorado. Today it is just a beautiful snowy day. Right now we're babysitting, or I guess dog sitting, my father and mother-in-law's dog, whose name is Winston, so you might see him like barking or jumping around, but this morning I took him out for a walk and it had snowed like 4 inches and it was still snowing while we were going for a walk, and it was just like the most peaceful thing ever. Um, but yeah, thanks for joining me today. I've got quite a bit to talk about. I unfortunately am gonna not be able to talk about all of it because a lot of it is Christmas stuff. But by that I mean I'm going to do a very similar thing that I did last time I put up a podcast, where I am going to talk about some of the stuff that I finished for me or that are not gift knits, and then after that I'm going to be moving on to some stuff that I've been knitting, sewing, making for people for Christmas, because I know that some people that I know in my personal life watch this, Mom, and I don't want them to see what I am planning for Christmas this year. So, with that, I will just move on to sort of what I'm wearing, and then also a little bit about what I've been up to, since this is kind of a journal for me. I like to keep track of the fun stuff that I've been up to, and it's kind of related to what I'm wearing. So anyway, right now I am wearing the Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter. This was knit in Wool and Vine yarns. I'll just undo this. So Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns made a kit out of this, and so I bought the kit immediately, even though it was a little bit out of my price range, because I just absolutely fell in love with it, and it was honestly one of the most fun sweaters I've ever knit. I know that I've talked about this already, so I won't go into a ton of detail, but it is so potato chippy. When you're knitting, you're just like, I just want to keep knitting. This is so awesome. And so I definitely think that I will knit another Soldotna. I think this one I wanted to do with a little bit of negative ease and have it be kind of tight so that it looks cute when I'm wearing it with like overalls or something baggy. But I have plans for another one that I'll talk about a little bit later. So the other thing that I'm wearing is the Dreamin Slowly hat by Layla and the King Fibre team. This is actually a finished object as well. So yeah, so I'll talk about this in a little while. But the main thing that I wanted to bring up is that last weekend, we had Friendsgiving. So a bunch of our friends, I think it was like 20 friends from college, went over to one of my best friend in the world, Steve's house. And it was hilarious because when we walked in, he had converted his living room into a huge dining room table. So I've had like lots of Friendsgivings before, but normally at Friendsgiving, it's like you have a little plate of food and you're just like balancing it on your legs while you're like sitting in a corner, talking to people. Like, I've never had it be like this, but Steve built a table out of plywood and 2x4s that was able to seat 20 people, which was absolutely bonkers. And the food was so good. My friend Alex deep fried the turkey. Sean and I brought stuffing and gravy. And there was so much good food, and I could eat almost all of it. It was incredible. My friends from college, I know that everyone says that they have the best friends in the world, but I think like I truly do. So it was just an amazing time to get to spend time with them and be silly. Our friends are also very weird, which is something that I really enjoy because I am also very weird. And so I was standing there talking to another one of my very best friends, Will. And Will was he was the best man at our wedding. And so we were just like sitting there talking, and Will just turns to me and he goes, should we change outfits? And I was like, Fuck yeah. And so we went into Steve's room, just the two of us, stripped down, changed outfits, and walked out as if it was nothing. If I remember or can figure out how, I will put a picture of me and Will at the end of this in our separate outfits, because it was just awesome. So yeah. That's what I'm wearing. I was wearing these overalls and like a nice tight cropped shirt, and so I just have a like lovely picture of Will in these overalls, which I just love. So yeah. I will move on to some finished objects, guys. I am so excited because I finally finished my Philosopher Stone sweater, which is the Rizzo by Amy Appel. And I knit this out of Malabrigo sock 033 in the Cereza colorway. I absolutely love this sweater. I love how it looks on me. It is not blocked yet. I am planning on doing that this afternoon, but it's a really cute cropped sweater with this amazing detail on the yoke, and it is actually inside out. Let me turn it right side out. Okay. So yeah, this was a really fun knit. I've already talked about it a bunch of times, so I won't go into a ton of detail, but just to review, it's a really, really fun knit. It's got this awesome seed stitch with some yarn overs that causes a cute little lace V-neck on the front. The sleeves are sort of like little cap sleeves when they're on. It fits really, really well. The only real modification that I made is that my body is pretty straight, so I don't have that like really nice small nipped in waist that is common to the female figure. My figure is much, much more male in its proportions, and so this sweater had you do a lot of decreases to bring it in, and for me, I skipped every other of those decreases so that it does come in a little bit, but that it's a much more gradual decrease. So I really loved this. I think that I will probably knit several more of these. I think with the fact that it's high-waisted and a little bit tighter, when I am at work, I often wear like big, looser pants, like really high, or sorry, that it's high, I don't know, that it comes up here, I forget what that's called, but at work, I normally wear really high-waisted, but kind of like flaring pants, and so I think that it looks really good with something like this, where the sweater is a little bit tighter, and yeah, so I think this is going to be something that I wear at work a lot, and I want to make more of them so that I have more work type sweaters. I like wearing that because I work a lot with kids, and also just working in medicine, I need to be able to move around really easily, so I prefer to wear pants when I'm at work. I love knitting this sweater. I called it the Philosopher's Stone because the color. And also because of this, I felt like this really reminded me of the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone, which is something that I will be reading about in just a little while. So, Philosopher's Stone, Rizzo by Amy Appel. And I'm so excited. It also looks really good with these, so I feel like these just sort of go with everything. And then the other finished object I have is this awesome hat. Excuse my hat hair, but so this is the Dreamin' Slowly hat. It's folded up right now, but this is the Dreamin' Slowly hat by Layla and the Qing Fibre team. I knit this out of I showed it last week actually. So I knit this out of the Homespun House, Overdose awareness yarn that Molly of a Homespun House and her sister dyed up for Overdose Awareness Day as a fundraiser, and then I held it with 2 strands of Rowan Rowan kidsilk haze in the Wicked colorway, which is just their black colorway. So I think it really sort of toned down the colors a little bit and blended it. I am calling this my Moldy Voldy hat. Moldy Voldy is a reference to one of the most amazing podcasts you could ever possibly listen to if you're a huge Harry Potter fan. It's called Binge Mode. The Binge Mode team, which is Jason Concepcion and Mallory, oh, I'm forgetting her last name, but Jason and Mallory, do a really, really deep dive into Harry Potter, all things Harry Potter. It's sort of like a book club / comedy podcast where they're like really connecting the Harry Potter from like the Harry Potter series from the very first book to the last book to movies to like other film. It's incredible. There's nothing else to say about it. But they also have a lot of inside jokes that sort of run through the whole thing. And one inside joke they have, which I thought went perfectly with this one, is they call Lord Voldemort Moldy Voldy sometimes. And it actually comes from the first book when Voldemort was like a really smelly thing attached to the back of Quirrell's head. My Moldy Voldy hat. I decided to call it this just because it is sort of dark and ominous, but then with the mohair, it also just has, and also because you're holding the mohair double, it just has like the most amazing little furriness to it that I thought kind of looked like mold. So Moldy Voldy, Dreamin' Slowly hat. It is one of those awesome hipster hats that don't keep your ears warm. No, but I love it because you can fold it over. So if you're like, I'm freezing, you can fold it over, but I can still wear it inside because it's not just like absolutely murdering me with heat, which I tend to run hot and I prefer to be cold. Sorry, my bangs are just like driving me crazy now. I generally tend to run hot and really don't like it. I prefer to be cold, and so I really like these little hats that don't cover your ears and are just sort of a cute little accessory piece that you can wear all the time. So I feel like I'm never going to get my bangs to look good again, but you know what? That's just the way it goes. Hi! Sorry, there was one thing that I realized when I was going over some Christmas present stuff that I forgot to mention that is not a Christmas present for other people, but something that I did spend a lot of time making over the last couple weeks, and that is a cloth carrier for my advent calendar. So, I shared in my last episode that I got an advent calendar from Hue Loco, and it was their Harry Potter advent calendar, but I wanted something to keep it in that I could reuse every year because I think that I will probably want an advent calendar every year, even if it's not one that I buy specifically, but also from, like I could make one or make one for my husband, stuff like that. So I think that an advent calendar really adds like whimsy to the Christmas season, and so I definitely want to keep doing that. Just have something small that you get to open every year. And so Joann's was having 60% off their festive holiday fabrics, and so I made it's on a broom handle right now. I need to get a dowel for it, but I made this awesome advent calendar. So I'll just bring it up a little bit closer. So, you can see the background fabric is this like really awesome, really whimsical, like old-timey Christmas scene. I just really love it. It's so cute. Let's see. I feel like this is probably the best way to show it. So it's just like got a bunch of people walking around, shopping in markets with like Christmas trees and stuff like that. And then I made these little pouches out of this amazing and also glittery Santa fabric. And then I lined it with this green fabric and then put the green fabric at the top to hold it onto a dowel, and then I've already filled it with all of my little advents. This is like number 1, and I put it in a little number 1 case, and I'm really excited about it. I think that it is something that me and my future family will use year after year. I didn't follow any pattern. I just sort of like laid it out and took some measurements and tried to make it the best I could. I think for next year, we didn't really plan ahead and have anything for Sean. I kind of want to get him like candies and stuff to put in here so that he also has fun things to open every day, because I think that he will kind of be missing out a little bit. But I just did a little pouch so that there's like a little something in there so that you can just have something awesome. But I'm really excited about it, and I was really sad when I realized that I made this and I forgot to share it with you. So anyway, this is my little advent calendar that I put my yarn advent in. Great, so I'm going to move on to some works in progress. Most of the things that I have been working on, like I said, are Christmas presents, so those are going to come at the end of the episode after I do Harry Potter talk. But I do have my the Quibbler Sweater. So again, this is a sweater that I am knitting with some women from my school who wanted to learn how to knit, and so we cast this on. This is the Brick by SoKnit. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and right now what is in here is Goosey fibers. So as you can see, I bound off. So the whole body is completely done. I still obviously have to pick up and knit the neckband and then the sleeves. I think I probably will do this long sleeve because it is a worsted weight, and it just feels weird to have a short sleeve worsted weight wool sweater because, yeah, that just doesn't seem right. But anyway, I really love this sweater. I love how all of the colors play together. It's going to be a totally scrappy sweater, so I'm going to knit. I think I changed my mind on this a little bit, actually. I think I'm going to knit the sleeves with just two fingering weight yarns held together because I have a lot of fingering weight yarn, and I think that I will be less hot if the sleeves are knit at a DK weight. So I'll probably just, to make it still fit, pick up more stitches on the underarm and knit this with a DK weight. So yeah, that's one of the most beautiful things about sweaters is you can change the gauge based on what you are excited about, what you like. Obviously, this is still really annoying me, which is, you know, I feel like that song that's like, "You're so vain" is just playing in the background, but whatever. So yeah, this is the Quibbler sweater. I called it the Quibbler because I just think that the marling of all of these different colors is just completely wacky. And also the fact with the sweater, so I knit this into a shawl as well, but with the sweater, I feel like because the sleeves are also not going to match at all, I think this is a sweater that Luna or Xenophilius Lovegood would like really love to wear. So yeah, the Quibbler sweater knit out of Goosey fiber. And then I have put just a couple of rows, so I'm just going to show this really briefly, but I just put a couple of rows on my Montana Mountain cowl. This has kind of gone by the wayside just as I finish up some Christmas presents. I'm trying to get all of my Christmas presents done before December so that December I can just have fun knitting my own stuff, but we'll see. That probably won't happen, but I'm well on my way, which is nice. This is the Montana Mountain Cowl by Andrea Mowry. I still don't know exactly what I'm going to call this, but it is knit out of Spincycle, dyed in the wool, and also Sun Valley fiber. So I really, really love this. It's beautiful. I think it will go with a lot of different things that I have, but I'm just really busy working on other things. So I really love this, and I'm really excited to keep knitting on it, but I'm just really busy with gifts and all that good stuff. And then the only other thing that I have to show that is not a Christmas present is my Fleur Delacour socks. I have just put a little bit on these. So this sock is the Hermione's Everyday Sock by Erica Leuder. And then this is less traveled yarn in the Creosote collection in the Devil's Bridge colorway. So yeah, I finished the heel turn, and now I'm just sort of knitting away on the body. I like to knit my socks on 9-inch circulars because I think that magic loop is just a complete waste of time and a fuss that I don't like to put up with. I'm really, really liking this yarn. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, I think that it's a sock that I will wear very often. with that, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about that is knitting related are some future whips. So I had sort of hinted at that I really love my Soldotna crop, but I want to knit a different one. So Molly of a Homespun House, I saw she released a ton of Christmas colorways that I really like. Like, I am on board for them. I think they are awesome. And so I kind of want to knit a Soldotna crop, but in a bigger size. So I think I want to do like the medium or the large. Like, I want it to be really oversized. And knit it in Christmas colorways. So I think that it would just be really fun. This sweater, I think I knit in 1 week, and so it's something that I could bust out in early December and just have a ton of fun knitting it, especially because I'm doing some traveling in early December, so sort of bring the holidays with me, and then I could wear it for the rest of December. So my plan is to maybe purchase that yarn today if I can justify it. I think I'll probably just get maybe 2 or 3 skeins of yarn and then the rest of the yarn to make it a little bit more affordable, because it seems a little bit silly to knit a Christmas sweater that you're only going to wear 1 month of the year entirely in pretty expensive wool. So I might buy some knit picks and sort of put it in there, or I might do it all in knit picks. I just really like some of her colorways, and I think it would be a really fun sweater to knit. So trying to sort of decide what I want to do with that. But yeah. So moving on, I'm going to do a little bit of reading. And I'm going to be reading from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm going to be reading from the last chapter. So this is chapter 17, The Man with Two Faces. And this is the part in the book where it is right after Harry meets Quirrell and Voldemort in Hogwarts. And this is him sort of waking up in the hospital wing, which I also think is perfect because this is the Knitting in the Hospital Wing podcast. So, get ready. I'm drinking the most delicious tea, by the way. This is the I'm sorry, Bigelow? Really? Every time I hear that, I just think of Austin Powers. Anyway, this is the Constant Comment by Bigelow. And it's delicious. It's like a really, really good wintry tea because it's a black tea that has quite a bit of caffeine, but it also has like orange peel and clove. It's just delicious. Alrighty. Something gold was glinting just above him. The snitch! He tried to catch it, but his arms were too heavy. He blinked. It wasn't the snitch at all. It was a pair of glasses. How strange. He blinked again. The smiling face of Albus Dumbledore swam into view above him. Good afternoon, Harry, said Dumbledore. Harry stared at him. Then he remembered. Sir, the stone! It was Quirrell. He's got the stone, sir, quick! Calm yourself, dear boy. You are a little behind the times, said Dumbledore. Quirrell does not have the stone. Then who does, sir? Harry, please relax, or Madame Pomfrey will have me thrown out. Harry swallowed and looked around him. He realized he must be in the hospital wing. He was lying in a bed with white linen sheets, and next to him was a table piled high with what looked like half the candy shop. Tokens from your friends and admirers, said Dumbledore, beaming. What happened down in the dungeons between you and Professor Quirrell is a complete secret. So naturally, the whole school knows. I believe your friends, Messrs. Fred and George Weasley, were responsible for trying to send you a toilet seat. No doubt they thought it would amuse you. Madame Pomfrey, however, felt it might be not very hygienic and confiscated it. How long have I been in here? 3 days, Mr. Ronald Weasley and Miss Granger will be most relieved you have come round. They have been extremely worried. But, sir, the stone. I see you are not to be distracted. Very well, the stone. Professor Quirrell did not manage to take it from you. I arrived in time to prevent that, although you were doing very well on your own, I must say. You got there? You got Hermione's owl? We must have crossed in midair. No sooner had I reached London than it became clear to me that the place I should be was the one I had just left. I arrived just in time to pull Quirrell off you. It was you? I feared it might be too late. You nearly were. I couldn't have kept him off the stone much longer. Not the stone, boy. You. The effort involved nearly killed you. For one terrible moment there, I was afraid it had. As for the stone, it has been destroyed. Destroyed? Said Harry blankly. But your friend, Nicholas Flamel. Oh, you know about Nicholas, said Dumbledore, sounding quite delighted. You did do the thing properly, didn't you? Well, Nicholas and I have had a little chat and agreed it's all for the best. But that means he and his wife will die, won't they? They have enough elixir stored to set their affairs in order, and then, yes, they will die. Dumbledore smiled at the look of amazement on Harry's face. To one as young as you, I'm sure it seems incredible, but to Nicholas and Perenelle, it really is like going to bed after a very, very long day. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. You know, the stone was really not such a wonderful thing. As much money in life as you could want, the two things most human beings would choose above all. The trouble is, humans do not have a knack of choosing precisely those things that are worse for them. Harry lay there, long lost for words. Dumbledore hummed a little and smiled at the ceiling. Sir, said Harry, I've been thinking, sir, even if the stone's gone, you know who. Call him Voldemort, Harry. Always use the proper name for things. Fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. Yes, sir. Well, Voldemort's going to try other ways of coming back, isn't he? He hasn't gone, has he? No, Harry, he has not. He is still out there somewhere, perhaps looking for another body to share. Not being truly alive, he cannot be killed. He left Quirrell to die. He shows just as little mercy to his followers as his enemies. Nevertheless, Harry, while you may only have delayed his return to power, it will merely take someone else who is prepared to fight what seems a losing battle next time. And if he is delayed again and again, why, he may never return to power. Harry nodded, but stopped quickly because it made his head hurt. Then he said, Sir, there are some other things I'd like to know. If you can tell me, things I want to know the truth about. The truth, Dumbledore sighed. It is a beautiful and terrible thing, and should therefore be treated with great caution. However, I shall answer your questions unless I have a very good reason not to, in which case I beg you forgive me. I shall not, of course, lie. Well, Voldemort said that he only killed my mother because she tried to stop him from killing me. But why would he want to kill me in the first place? Dumbledore sighed very deeply this time. Alas, the first thing you ask me I cannot tell you. Not today. Not now. You will know one day. Put it from your mind for now, Harry. When you are older, I know you hate to hear this. When you are ready, you will know. And Harry knew it would be no good to argue. But why couldn't Quirrell touch me? Your mother died to save you. If there is one thing Voldemort cannot understand, it is love. He didn't realize that love, as powerful as your mother's for you, leaves its own mark. Not a scar, no visible sign. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. It is in your very skin. Quirrell, full of hatred, greed, and ambition, sharing his soul with Voldemort, could not touch you for this reason. It was agony to touch a person marked by something so good. Dumbledore now became very interested in a bird out on the windowsill, which gave Harry time to dry his eyes on the sheet. When he had found his voice again, Harry said, "And the invisibility cloak? Do you know who sent it to me?" "Ah, your father happened to leave it in my possession, and I thought you might like it." Dumbledore's eyes twinkled. Useful things. Your father used it mainly for sneaking off to kitchens to steal food when he was here. And there's something else. Fire away. Quirrell and Snape. Professor Snape, Harry. Yes, him. Quirrell said he hates me because he hated my father. Is that true? Well, they did rather detest each other, not unlike yourself and Mr. Malfoy. And then your father did something Snape could never forgive. What? He saved his life. What? Yes, said Dumbledore dreamily. Funny the way people's minds work, isn't it? Professor Snape couldn't bear being in your father's debt. I do believe he worked so hard to protect you this year because he felt that would make him and your father even, that he could go back to hating your father's memory in peace. Harry tried to understand this, but it made his head pound, so he stopped. And sir, there's one more thing. Just the one? How did I get the stone out of the mirror? Ah, now, I'm glad you asked me that. It was one of my more brilliant ideas, and between you and me, that's saying something. You see, only one who wanted to find the stone, find it, but not use it, would be able to get it. Otherwise, they just see themselves making gold or drinking elixir of life. My brain surprises even me sometimes. Now, enough questions. I suggest you make a start on these sweets. Ah, Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. I was unfortunate enough in my youth to come across a vomit-flavored one, and since then, I'm afraid I've rather lost my liking for them. But I think I'll be safe with a nice toffee, don't you? He smiled and popped the golden brown bean into his mouth. Then he choked and said, Ah, alas, earwax. So good. So this is one of the first really in-depth conversations that Harry and Dumbledore have at the end of books. And oftentimes, in almost every book, I think in every single one, there is this sort of wrap-up of what has happened in the year where Harry and Dumbledore are talking to one another. Even in the last book, when Dumbledore is dead and Harry dies, they also have a conversation together in the afterlife. This one is so beautiful for so many reasons. Just looking over it, the questions that Harry asks of Dumbledore. So, the first one being the one that Dumbledore can't answer, which is, why did Voldemort want to kill me? And you realize about the prophecy and the fact, that in Snape's in the last memories that Snape leaves with Harry, the fact that Snape even says, so what, you've been growing him like a pig for slaughter? And then Dumbledore is like, oh, don't tell me you've grown, start to have feelings for the boy. And Snape says something like, he has her eyes, he has Lily's eyes. But I think it's so interesting because even in this book, Dumbledore knows about the prophecy because the prophecy was told to Dumbledore. And, at this point, Voldemort is not back, but Dumbledore does know why Voldemort is trying to kill Harry, and it's hard to know with Dumbledore. He's a complicated guy. I don't think he's always good he's definitely not always bad, but he's not always good, and he doesn't always have the best intentions. And so here, at this point, it's hard to know if Dumbledore is actually trying to protect Harry, or if Dumbledore is trying to keep him growing and make him stronger, only to have him die or kill Voldemort. It's a very interesting thing that he doesn't tell him at this point. But I do love what he says, the truth. It is a beautiful and terrible thing and should therefore be treated with great caution. Because for me and my family, I was always taught that it is very important to tell the truth. But I do think that there are times when we protect the people that we love by telling a little bit of a fib for them. So I just love that. I also think it's particularly interesting that Harry is 11, 12 years old at this point in the book, and he has already killed someone, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. And the fact that, even though it was sort of like kill or be killed, it's still a very traumatic thing to go through. And Harry is a child. Like, I think it's easy to forget that, and it's easy to overlook this. But he killed Quirrell in his first year, which is pretty nuts. And then I also really love that they talk about Lily's love and sort of give that time for Harry to dry his eyes and kind of look away. Because Lily's love is so important, and it's something that comes back again and again and again, that Voldemort cannot understand love, and he doesn't understand he doesn't understand how powerful it is until this moment. He doesn't understand that magic and how strong it is even when the person is gone until this exact moment. I love that Sansa is right here. And we see Lily's love coming in, multiple times, even, the Seven Potters in the last book. That chapter is all about the fact that her sort of love is broken. The protection that her love gives Harry is broken when he comes of age, and so they need to move him before that happens. Yeah, so interesting. The other interesting thing is about the invisibility cloak and the fact that the invisibility cloak was left in Dumbledore's possession. But in fact, Dumbledore, it wasn't just left in his possession. Dumbledore had asked specifically of James to look at the cloak because he thought that it might be the Cloak of Invisibility that is part of the Deathly Hallows. And so I think, again, this is just such a beautiful example of how much thought and planning was put into these books from the very beginning. The fact that Dumbledore had that cloak to examine it, and, that he decided to give it to Harry. In some ways, it is like, do I feel bad about the fact that I had the cloak and feel the obligation to return it to Harry? Or am I already starting to sort of make sure that you have the cloak and sort of start you on this path to having all of the Deathly Hallows? I think it's so interesting. And, like, let's just face it, J.K. Rowling is, like, a fucking genius. She's incredible. And then I also think the Snape James discussion here is an interesting one, because I'm actually kind of on Snape's side of this. So the fact that Snape feels indebted to James because James, I'm sorry, but my cat's being really cute. So I'm just gonna put it down so we can look at her. But the fact that Dumbledore says that Snape hates James because James saved his life, I think is complete bullshit. Because the thing is like, Snape was literally protecting Sirius Black in that moment, because he knew that what Sirius was trying to get him to do was a death sentence. And so, like, sure, he kind of saved his life, but in reality, he just was, like, not acting to save Snape's life. He was literally, like, that's not why Snape hates him. Snape hates him because Snape loved Lily and lost Lily to James, and that James, when they were kids, was an asshole. And just bullied the shit out of him all the time. So I think that's kind of a cop-out, and I think, it's pretty obvious that Snape protected Harry because of his love for Lily, not because he was trying to not be indebted to his dad anymore. He protected Harry because he loved Lily, and he killed Lily on accident, but he did. He killed her. And so, I think that he says that he may decide not to tell the truth, but that he will not lie, and I think that this was actually an example of Dumbledore lying to Harry. Like, this is just, it's ridiculous that he says that, but whatever. Sorry, I have cat hair, like, all over my face now. She was being so cute. Can you believe how cute she was? So, yeah. Anyway, the very beginning of the series is just connected to the very end. I mean, I think that comes up again and again, because literally in the first chapter, you see, Hagrid coming down on a motorcycle, a flying motorcycle, and he's like, oh, lent it from young Sirius Black. And then you don't hear about Sirius Black again until the third book. It's like crazy. But anyway, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, reference to my Philosopher's Stone sweater, which Sansa is on right now. Did you just hear? So I really, really loved thinking about this book while I was knitting the sweater, and can't wait to wear it. And I feel like every Christmas season I start rereading the books, and so it's about that time. It's about that time. Anyway. So that is all non-Christmas gift related information that I have. So if you know me at all in my personal life, please turn off the computer and move on with your day. I hope that it's snowy and beautiful and cold wherever you are. But the rest of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is all Christmas related. So this is your time to go. All right. So this year I've been talking about the fact that I'm really trying to make handmade gifts for everybody in my family. And so I just wanted to take a little bit of time to go over the things that I've been working on. So I already talked about the Dreamin' Slowly hat by Layla and the Qing Fibre team. And so I knit this hat, and then I'm also knitting the same hat for my my stepdad, who, like I said in the last podcast, has lived experience with addiction, and so I thought that this would be a really meaningful thing for him. I'm not going to do it quite like this one. I'm actually going to do it just so it's a cap, because he is not a hipster. Actually, he, for an adult, is a hipster. He's, a pastry chef who cares about food insecurity up in Steamboat, which is hilarious. But anyway, so I'm knitting him the Dreamin' Slowly hat. And again, this is out of the Homespun House Overdose awareness yarn. So just working away at that. I actually think I'm just about to start the decreases for the cap, because this is, I think, a really good size for that. And I'm also running out of this, and I don't really want to buy another one because that just seems a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, so gonna start decreases now on that. So I'm almost done with that one, which is really, really fun. And then I also knit the same hat for my brother in some yarn that I had that's just a sort of woolly red yarn. I knit this in one size larger, but again, this is the Dreamin' Slowly hat. This one will be for Rory. I did knit it so that it can be kind of folded over like this, because Rory, even though he does not like to admit it, is a hipster. So I knit him this hat. I think he'll really like it. I think it's something that he'll wear a lot. He lives in Portland, Oregon. So now that I'm looking at this, I kind of want one in a red color. I can't just have a million hats. I feel like I'm starting to hoard hats, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. But you know what? In the wintertime, it's what is going on? In the wintertime, it's one of my favorite accessories to wear. They just look really cute. And I particularly, like I said, I particularly like this one because it's kind of, because it's off the back of your head a little bit, it's really warm but still comfortable to wear inside. So it's a pretty dope hat. I really love it. So that is for Rory. Another really exciting thing. So I am knitting Bob the Into the Pensive sweater. I got just the kick to work on this over the last couple weeks. So this is actually where most of my knitting went. So before, I had not yet finished the back. I was actually still pretty far down the back. And as you can see, I have totally finished the back. So this is a really, really fun sweater. This is my Into the Pensive sweater. It is knit. It is the Hunter sweater vest by Jared Flood. It's a Brooklyn tweed pattern. And then it's knit in WZ felt and yarn, High Mountain Wool of Routt County. So this is the county where I grew up. So I finished the back. And you can see that it's a little bit color blocked. This is because I didn't have enough of this darker color. And so here I did every other was a lighter color, which I actually think like turned out kind of cool and adds like a little bit something different. But I also finished the front. What? This is so awesome. So yeah, I finished the front. It's got this really great V-neck. Now, oh, and you can see that my From New Leaf Harry Potter, one of my From New Leaf Harry Potter charms is falling off the front of it here. So this one is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So yeah, I have to block this now, and then I will just sew the top on, and then pick up for the neckband and the arms. I do not have a lot of yarn left, so I only have these two little balls of yarn. So what I'm gonna do is pick up and knit the neckband with this yarn. I think it will definitely be enough to do that, and then I think what I'll end up having to do is buy a little bit of extra yarn just for the sleeves. There's actually a Brooklyn tweed, whatever is their worsted weight woolen spun yarn, there's actually a yarn that looks almost exactly like this. So I think I'm just gonna have to buy one skein of that to finish this sweater up. But I love it so much. I think Bob's gonna cry when he opens it. I hope he cries. I hate that I like to make people cry, but whatever. I'm really excited about it. It is really, really warm. Sean really loves it and is like, is this for me? Even though it's like a grandpa's sweater, but I kind of wanted to knit Sean one in like a bright pink color. I actually might buy some whole super soft for Shawnee to knit him one in like a bright pink color so he can wear it backcountry skiing, because I just think it would be really funny. But anyway, so yeah, that's my Into the Pensive sweater. I'm going to block that in this later today, probably in different things, because I imagine with the red that it might bleed, and I really don't want this to be like pink. So yeah, and then the other few things that I've been doing is I have some scraps, and I have been knitting, I'm forgetting the designer of this, but it's just a free Christmas tree pattern on Ravelry. So if you just search Ravelry for Christmas tree ornament and click free, then it will be one of the top ones. But I just think these ornaments are so cute. And I haven't decided yet if I might go over and like sew on some buttons and stuff like that to make it look like a Christmas tree that has like some decoration on it, because I just think that would be really cute. So I have finished 3 of these. My plan for Christmas this year is to make basket, like it won't actually be a basket, but it'll be kind of like a basket. So I just want to have at least one, so I'll probably do one ornament, one like hand knitted or hand sewn thing, and then a couple of other goodies that I'll talk about. But yeah, so these are awesome Christmas ornaments that I'm really excited about. This yarn is like a worsted to maybe bulky weight, worsted to maybe Aran weight yarn. That is really beautiful. It's single ply though, so I just feel like it's not, I don't know. I think what I realized is I don't really like single ply yarn because I feel like it just falls apart. But great for ornaments. So I'm going to finish making those. And then the next thing is that I have been sewing so many chalk bags. So my family is really into climbing. Me and Sean were definitely much more into climbing in college, but are still into climbing now. So I've made 3 chalk bags, one for Sean's sister, one for his brother, and then one for Sean, which is one of the only surprises because he's seen almost everything else that I've made him for Christmas, which is just how it is. But so this is Jackie's, and you can see that I embroidered delicate arch on there, which I've already talked about. The cool thing that I decided to do is I decided to put boning in the top of it, which is awesome because it keeps it open, which is really nice because if you think about a chalk bag, it's going to be on your back and you're reaching back and you want it to stay open. I didn't want it to be floppy. So I think that this boning channel is perfect because it's really light. It doesn't weigh a lot because you also don't want your chalk bag to like weigh a lot, but keeps it open, sort of keeps it sprung open. So really excited about that. I just have to get the special pliers to put the drawstring in the front here and then hang the little loop off the back. So I'm so excited about it. So that's one of them that I have finished. And then the other one is I took the paper piecing class uh, from Blueprint, and decided to turn the little quilt that I made from that into another chalk bag. So this is the one that is for Matt, Will's older brother, or sorry, Matt, Sean's older brother. And you can see I actually am proud of this because I took the pattern and I shrunk it because I wanted it to be smaller on here. So I love this. I love the little cats. Matt has 2 cats, so I just think it's like hilarious to just like play that up. Other than that, the back of this one is just, the rest of this one is just like the all dark green color. These fabrics and this back fabric were something that I got from Fancy Tiger Crafts, which is a really awesome craft store in Denver, Colorado. They have a huge selection of fat quarters. So that's what those are, just some fat quarters that I cut up and made this awesome paper piecing sort of starburst pattern out of. And yeah, I think Matt will really, really love this. I'm really excited. And so Sean was like looking at it, he was like, for me? Like, I feel like everything I made for his family, he's like, do I get one? And so I was like, oh, like, I just don't really think I have time. Like, I'm making things for everyone else. And like, you're already getting a sweater, blah, blah, blah. Which I think he knows was a lie, but whatever. So this one is for Shawnee, and this is the one that I'm probably the most excited about. So I got this fabric that has a monkey with a wrench in his tail from Fancy Tiger Crafts, and I decided to put it in my embroidery hoop and embroider the monkey a little bit. So you can see his little head here. I just added some fur that's all embroidered. So I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer because I really want to be able to see this. I'm really, really, really excited about it, the little wrench. So for his, I did the monkey, which is just so funny. I just think it's hilarious. I'm like absolutely obsessed with it. So I did that, and then because it's sort of like a bright neon, I wanted to do the other colors bright neon. So the bottom, I did this similar to Jackie's in that it's like 2 tones. So it's kind of washing out a little bit from all of the natural light. Maybe if I put it back here, it'll be a little bit better. Nope, that's worse. So you can see here that this fabric has like really awesome like eyes and the lightning bolts and stuff like that. It reminds me of Harry Potter, so I really love it. And then the bottom is just this pink that has this like cool pink and purple design. And I embroidered my initials on there and the year so that he can remember that his amazing wife made this for him. And then the black is just the same green black back as Matt's. So yeah, I think Sean will really like this. I think it's like super awesome. And I'm really excited for him to have something to open that he doesn't know about or hasn't seen. So I think he knows he's getting one because he's like has good powers of deduction. But the other fun things that I've gotten into is making some sort of bath products and housewares out of essential oils and some like organic oils that you have around your house. So I started following Our Oily House on Instagram, and she is a really awesome YouTuber who has a lot of recipes for like DIY lotions and sunscreen and all that good stuff with essential oils. So I have a bunch of essential oils, but a couple of things. So these are all things that are going to be added to the Christmas present. So some of them is I went to the Ark in Goodwill to get some glasses. So these are just like thick glass cocktail glasses, and I made some candles out of them. So this is a white beeswax candle, and this is a yellow beeswax candle. This one smells... It smells like, I think I put lavender and this like Keep Calm, Calm Down essential oil, which is a mixture of like lavender and patchouli and chamomile. It smells really good. But I like these because they're slow burning, so they last a really long time. I've already started burning one of them. It's not on right now, but I've started burning this and it burned for like 4 hours and it's like barely used at all. And then this one, I did orange, rosemary, and lavender, and it also smells really good. Like I said, it's subtle. It's not like a super, super strong scent, which is something that I wanted. So everybody, along with their like knitted or sewn hand thing, is going to get a candle. And then I also made some body butter. So this is whipped body butter. I'm not going to open it, but this is whipped body butter that was made out of like a bunch of different kinds of oils, including like shea butter, cocoa butter. The cocoa butter is a very strong smell, so it smells a lot like cocoa butter. And then I also in this one put lavender and frankincense. So this smells very, very good. So everyone's going to be getting, all of the women I think are going to be getting one of these. And then the men are going to be getting this, which is sunscreen. So this is, again, like a lotion, but then you add nano-zinc oxide, and I added peppermint oil to this. So it smells so delicious and is like perfect for Christmas. Oh my God, I realized that I forgot. So I'm really, really excited about this. And these fabrics are something that I forgot to talk about, but I will go grab because it's awesome and I spent a really long time making it. So I want to show it off. And then the last thing that I made for Christmas presents is I wanted to try my hand at making some cold processed soap, which I think is hilarious that it's called cold processed soap because you add lye, which is sodium hydroxide, to water, and that heats up, even though you're not using any kind of heat, but just like organic chemistry, I guess normal chemistry. I like to call it organic chemistry though, because I like organic chemistry a lot. But chemistry is fucking awesome. And this chemical reaction that happens when sodium hydroxide is put into water causes a thermal release of energy. And like, it is so cool. There's just so much energy that gets put out from it that the water heats up to like 190 degrees, which is nuts. So I bought a kit from brambleberry.com. This is the orange, it's like orange soap for beginners, and this was so fun to make. It's like a bunch of different oils, and then 10 times, so it's orange essential oil that has been redistilled 10 times. So this is orange, but it's orange because there's orange peel that's been ground up to add like an exfoliant, and then also that orange powder, or sorry, the 10 times distilled orange essential oil also has a lot of orange, and then there are just some marigold petals at the top. So this has been in the mold for a few days. I think it's about ready to come out of the mold. I think it is ready to come out, which I'm really excited about, but I promised Sean that I would wait because he really wants to be the one to cut it up. So essentially what you have to do is we made this, and then we have to cut it up into like bars that you want it to be bars, and then you have to leave it out to let it cure for like 4 to 6 weeks. So I think this will be ready just in time for Christmas. It smells so good. So we're gonna cut this up, so everyone's gonna have like one hand knitted or sewn thing, one candle, one either sunscreen or body butter, and then one bar of soap. And like, if there's a family, then they'll probably not get, each person won't get all of those things in combination. But yeah, so I am really, really excited about this Christmas. I think for me as a maker, if I got all of these things, I would be so excited to have like really cool handmade things. But yeah, I really, really love it. It's been really fun. I think that cold process soap is actually something that I'm going to get into. One thing that I think is weird is just that some people add like a bunch of like colorants and stuff to their cold process soap, which for me, like if you're trying to make, well, some people are not trying to make soap at home for their own use, but for me, I want to make this soap at home just because I think it's really cool to learn about how to make your own products and also know what you're putting on your body and also what you're putting into the environment. But I would obviously never add colorants to it because for me, it already, like, I don't know why you would add more chemicals to something, but whatever. That's just something I don't understand. But I'm really excited to open this up and take a look at it. So, that is all that I have for today. The thing that I was really excited about, I'm actually going to cut in and show earlier because that's not a Christmas present thing, so it's something that most people can see, or that everyone can see if they want. Sansa is coming up to say hello again, so I think that we should let her do that, and then I'll say bye! She doesn't want to. Bye! She hates me.